Hi everyone, welcome back to another chemistry video. I'm Aryan and today we're going to be tackling another fundamental skill in chemistry, balancing equations. If you've ever wondered why it's essential or struggled with balancing equations, this video will make it clear and straightforward. Balancing equations is a key part of understanding reactions and will help you succeed in your chemistry exams. Let's get into it. Before we start balancing, let's discuss what a chemical reaction is. A chemical equation is a way of representing a chemical reaction with multiple symbols and formulas. The substances we start with, called reactants, are shown on the left side of the equation. The substances produced, called products, are shown on the right side. This shorthand helps us understand what happens during the reaction at an atomic level. Now guys, in a balanced chemical equation, the number of atoms for each element are always the same on both sides of the equation. This is because of the law of conservation of mass, which states that mass can neither be created or destroyed in a chemical reaction. For example, in the reaction of hydrogen and oxygen to form water, we start with 2 hydrogen molecules and 1 oxygen molecule. Now both sides have 4 hydrogen atoms and 2 oxygen atoms. We use coefficients, which are the numbers in front of the chemical formulas, to balance equations, but we never change the subscripts within a molecule, as that would change the substance itself. Now let's look at steps for balancing a chemical equation. Here is a simple method. Step 1. Write down the unbalanced equation. Write down the chemical formulas for all the reactants and products. The next step is to count the number of atoms for each element. So you tally up the number of atoms for each element on both the sides. Now we start to balance one element at a time. Start with elements that appear only in one reactant and one product. Usually it's easier to start with metals and then non-metals and leave oxygen and hydrogen for the last. The next step is to adjust coefficients as needed. Place numbers in front of formulas to balance each element. Remember, only the coefficients change, never the subscripts. Now guys, the last step is to double check your work. Confirm that each side has the same number of atoms for each element. Now guys, let's use this method on an example reaction. Methane burning an oxygen to form carbon dioxide and water. Now guys, let's talk about a couple common mistakes when balancing equations. The first one is changing the subscripts instead of the coefficients. Remember, changing the subscripts changes the compound completely by itself. For example, if we have CH4, methane, making the 4 a 3 would completely change the compound from methane to methyl. After balancing, it's important to go over each element and ensure they're balanced on both sides. Avoiding these mistakes will save you time and help you get the right answer in your test every time. Alright guys, it's your turn now. I'll give you a couple of unbalanced equations and I want you guys to balance them for me and drop your answer down in the comment section below. The first question is, and the second question is, I'll be looking forward to see your answers down in the comment section below. Alright guys, that wraps up our lesson on balancing chemical equations. We covered what chemical equations are, the law of conservation of mass, and step-by-step methods for balancing equations. I hope this video makes balancing equations easier and more approachable, especially when studying for tests. If you have questions, leave them in the comments and I'll get back to you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out my other videos on other chemistry topics. Thanks for watching and keep practicing balancing equations. Bye bye.